Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Someone Like Us podcast. I'm Anne.
I'm Joelle.
And I'm me.
We're three friends who found each other in Canada, and this podcast is where we share our journey of exploring identity, love, friendship, career, finances, healing, and everything in between.
We're also here to share the lessons we have learned and the tips that have helped us along the way. We hope you find some comfort from this podcast and that you're not alone in this adulting journey abroad.
And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, feel free to give us that 5-star review. It will really help other people find our podcast and get our message out there.
Welcome, everyone. So today we finally have me, the third member of the team here. Welcome, me. It's so good to have you on the pod.
Yay! I'm so glad to be here, and I can't wait for you all to hear me yap.
So Father's Day was just a few days ago, and while it's a bit late, we wanted to dedicate this episode to our dads and our beloved Asian family. I don't know about you, but I find that every single stereotype about Asian dad ring true to mine. A strong, stoic breadwinner of the family who never shows weakness or emotions. So, as an extremely emotional and stubborn daughter, I have plenty of stories about my dad, discipline, arguments, shouting, yelling, you name it. So, in today's episode, we want to share our own stories and talk about how we have learned to heal, grow, and even become friends with our dads. So, let's start with a rapid fire round of Never Have I Ever. So, fold your fingers if these statements is true to you. Never have I ever said or texted I love you to my dad. Never have I
Really?
ever called my dad by his name. Never have I ever got spanked by my dad. Never have I ever got drunk with my dad.
I drank with my dad, but I wouldn't say I got drunk with my
Yeah, I
dad.
would never get drunk with my dad. That's like insane.
No, we're like a beer family, so occasionally we would drink like a little bit of beer, but like drunk, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never have I ever asked my dad for help with my
Oh,
homework.
oh my God. I mean, we didn't ask. We didn't have a choice. I feel like, no,
Exactly.
this is like
Yeah.
brings PTSD. For those out there with the Asian dads, please comment if you all went through the same PTSD as we are.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is never have I ever hugged my dad. Never
Wait, I hug
have.
my dad.
Okay, girl. Cool. Never have I ever seen my dad crying. Never have I ever sent a meme to my dad.
No
Then a
point.
meme,
He
you
won't
have
get
to
it.
explain what meme is. You know, like every
Exactly.
time I send anything to my mom or my dad, they're like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "No one. You don't know that person."
Yeah, my dad, he's technologically challenged. Every time he
Mm-hmm.
tries to take a picture, he takes a selfie first. So his phone is filled with selfie and then the picture, and a selfie and then a
Mm.
picture. And I'm like, wow.
Okay. I think I've sent emoji to my dad, but I never sent him a meme because I don't think he will get it anyway. He doesn't
Mm-hmm.
get that, memes are funny. Okay, the
Mm.
last one is never have I ever held a birthday party for my dad.
Honestly, I'm a horrible daughter because I actually forgot about my dad's birthday probably like around 2 times. But that is because my
Wow.
dad doesn't care. He never says anything about the birthday, and it kind of, yeah, I think I forgot about it twice. It only
Wow.
happens with my dad, unfortunately. I know.
Hmm.
Shame.
Shame, shame,
Well,
shame.
actually, I did plan a birthday party for my dad, but I don't think he was happy about it. So I
Really?
don't know
So how many
if that
did you
counts.
guys did you guys get? I have 5. So I have never done
I
5
think I got
things in
3.
the list. Wow. Which one did you get? So you never got drunk with your dad?
I never got drunk with my dad. I text my dad all the time that I love him, but one thing to note is it only started happening once I moved out. So that
Mm.
actually never happened before when we used to live together. It wasn't a relationship like that. But of course, since I moved out and we live 300 kilometers, thousands away, and he cannot get me, our relationship has become a little bit better. So I started texting them. I loved them all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense. When I moved to Canada, I think I started texting more that I love both of them, but stuff
Mm-hmm.
like Father's Day or on his birthday, I would say I love you. Yeah, just special occasions, not on a random day, I would say it, but yeah, on special occasions for sure.
I think I texted my dad that I love him, but I don't think I ever said it to him in person. I think I would just say, okay, I love you. But I never
Mm-hmm.
say the full sentence, Dad, I love you. Because I don't know. It's very cheesy and it's not like what I would say to my dad.
And you feeling like that obviously because you grew up like that, right? So your parents wasn't cheesy like that. So obviously you're not cheesy like that.
Mm,
Do you think it's gonna change when you're gonna have any kids?
I don't know. Maybe it will. It should. I think I can easily say I love you to a lot of people, like my friends, my in laws, and my husband. But to my parents, I find it hard to say that because I don't think they have said that to me
Mm-hmm.
often. They do show that they love me, but they don't vocally say that they love me like, "Oh, daughter, I love you." No, they I don't think they say that to me, sadly.
Words are not a big, or communication isn't big
Mm,
in Asian
Yeah.
households. Being quiet, my household was very quiet, and it was
Mm-hmm.
just
mm, same.
very much like it's understood that we love each
Mm,
other, but it's not said enough for sure.
yeah.
I feel like it works the same way like when we're fighting. We're just gonna not talk to each other for maybe like an hour or two, and then everyone just like, let's pretend that everything is okay. And we just like, my
Yeah.
parents will bring me some fruits that they will cut
Mhm.
it for me to eat. And they're like, here's the fruits. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're okay now.
Mm, yeah, I don't think
Right.
they even did that to me. And if they did, they would like, "You think I will feel better if you offer me fruits? This is not enough. I need an apology." I'm very stubborn.
Mm.
Have you guys ever seen your dad cry?
No, my dad told me a little story that the only time that he cried was when I was probably 5 years old. When I was younger, my parents couldn't afford to stay home with me, so I was living with the nanny from Monday to Friday, and then on weekends I would go home. It wasn't too long, I think. I cannot remember, obviously, but one thing I remember is my dad telling that one time he was really late to pick me up, and all the kids already went home because it was a bunch of kids. And I think we were walking home, and I asked him, why did you pick me up so late? Everyone already went home. And he said that time it was the only time that he cried because he felt so bad that his kid has to stay with someone else and wait for parents. So I think after that, as far as he says, okay, you know what? I cannot say that it's 100% true, but what he says that after that, he talked to my mom and said, you know what? Like, let's try to figure it out, but I think you should stay home for a little bit longer.
Oh, isn't
Mhm.
that great? He's so sweet.
Yeah, I think he's very sweet, but it's like I never seen it. I don't know how true is that, to be honest, but
Me
I'll
either.
just take it. I think it's a very cute story. Oh my God. And are you crying?
No, no, no. There's something on my nose.
It's a very cute story, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Joel?
I've never seen my dad cry. I think he does get emotional. He's such a provider mentality. He works too much. I feel like when he feels he's not able to provide for his family, I see him emotional, but I've never seen him cry.
Mm.
So I understand why he works this much, but I really don't want him to. I want him to relax a little bit, but
Mhm.
I understand why he does it.
Yeah. The only time that I saw my dad cried was when he called my relatives and my family and friends to announce that my grandfather passed away. I saw him crying on the
Mhm.
phone, like, yeah, my dad just passed away. So people can come and pay last visit to my grandpa. That was the time I saw him cry, which I still remember to this day. I think it was grade 11. Yeah. So
Mm.
it was a long, long time ago. I still vividly remember. It's kind of ingrained in me, the image of that day.
Yeah.
He's like try to stay strong all the time, but yeah, at least I know that he still have emotions because he doesn't show emotion a lot. So
Yeah, I think one thing it kind of dawned on me because both of my grandpas they passed away a little bit earlier than my grandmas. I have one grandma from my mom's side that's still alive, but my grandpa's kind of passed away. And I think when I was younger, it kind of like, of course, I was sad. It was like grandparents, but also I'm not living in Vietnam, so only got to see them whenever I had a chance to come home. And obviously, I know about you guys, my family is not that rich to fly every year, so it would be not that often. So I think couldn't develop this relationship with grandpa and grandma. Of course, I loved them, but it wasn't the same. And then when my grandma passed away, and it was a little bit recent, so during COVID, unfortunately, and this is where I'm already older, and it dawned on me that, oh my God, this is my mom's mom.
Mm.
I never thought of it that way, but obviously I'm older now and I'm thinking about my parents more. That actually made me so sad. They're losing their parents, and I don't know, I had to overthink it for a long, long time.
Yeah. Was you able to go back to Vietnam to their funeral?
No, because that was COVID, so I couldn't.
Yeah.
But for my grandpa's, I met him before he passed away because he had cancer. So I was in Vietnam. I was able to go to the hospital. It was a little bit awkward because I was dating someone at that point, but it wasn't that serious. So like it's kind of like the last person my grandpa saw was some guy I was dating for like 2 weeks or something like that,
Oh.
because he drove me to the hospital. So yeah, I was able to see them. So that being brings me a little bit of joy. But also, I'm the only grandchild from their gazillion grandchilds that they wasn't able to see me getting married. And you know, Anne and
Mm.
Joel, how important it is in Asian
Oh, yeah.
culture
True.
to get married. And since my mom was the youngest from my mom's side and my dad is younger from my dad's side, I was the only one left. And I'm a little bit sad that they didn't get to see it. But you know, it's just life, right?
Yeah, I think I have a similar story.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's side's grandparents passed early, so I wasn't able to grieve or feel the grief as much. But also my grandmother from my mom's side passed away during COVID, and that I felt like it was because I'm older now and I'm far away, and then I'm thinking of my mom that I can't be there for her because she's so far away. I want to be there for my mom, and even my grandfather passed away recently, so it's hard not to be there for our parents. And then
Mm-hmm.
to even hear that, oh, they wanted us, either my sister or me, to get married or at least see one marriage, and that's like a lot of pressure, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know they want to see it, but we can't just do it for the sake of
That's true.
them, you know?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
All right. That was very emotional. Okay, let's talk about something a little bit more fun. When you think about Asian dads, the first stereotype is that Asian dads are very strict. So, is your dad strict with you at all? You know, it can be about drinking, smoking, or studying and dating. What kind of area that he the most strict about?
Definitely studying. Like, yeah, if you're not studying, you're not good enough. That was
Mhm.
always the case.
Yeah.
Because growing up in India, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of kids, and everyone's very intelligent, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's expected to do good in school.
Mhm.
So it was always the case in my house that if you're not doing good in school, you're not good enough.
Mhm.
And I get it. I think there was a lot of even competition. Oh, why are you not like this kid? Like they're so good in maths, and I'm like, I hate maths. This is not my subject. But I think studying was the only, like, other in other parts of life. I think my dad was very chill, I would say. He didn't care about me drinking. I would ask
Really?
him if I could. Yeah, if I asked him if I could take a sip of his beer, and he was okay with that. He was, oh
Same.
yeah, if you want to try, you can.
Mhm.
But yeah, if I didn't study, I'm not doing anything with my life, because he's always wanted me to be financially independent too. And for
Mm-hmm.
him to he just wanted me to be okay, I can earn money, and that's it. That's all he wants.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
What about dating? So he's okay with you
Oh my
dating
God,
someone?
dating. I think my dad always said no one's good enough, you know,
Oh,
for my
oh,
daughters. He's
oh.
always no one's good enough for my daughters.
I mean, it's true.
Mm.
Yeah, true. And then also, he always, the one advice, really good advice that he gave me was, do not marry early. Take your time, enjoy life.
Mm.
You don't have to get married.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, he really wanted me
Your
to
dad is
actually,
different, Joel.
I
Yeah.
know, he really wanted me to wait until 30. He said that, you should
What?
enjoy your life, travel, try something in your career before you want to settle down. And I still think
Wow.
He still says no one's good enough. So
Oh,
I
Can we
agree with
please
him.
connect our dads, Joel? Like, I will give you the contact. Just send it to your dad. I mean, my dad doesn't speak English, but they'll figure it out. I need this
wow.
connection happening.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
very modern.
Yeah, he's very
Yeah.
open-minded. Like he's not a
Mhm.
typical Indian dad, I must say.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, apart from the studies part of it, like he's pretty chill. Like I thought he was a very cool dad growing up.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm with you on the study front. Both my parents have very high expectations because they the only one who went to college in their families and they have a degree, they had a good job, so they have the same expectation for me. And I remember when I was young, my parent would say, "If you don't study, look at those homeless people. You would be one of them. You would be one of them if you don't study." I think I was a good kid in my parents' eyes when I was in elementary school. I did well. But like to be honest, everybody did well in their elementary school. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then when I was in middle school and high school, I played video games and I spent a lot of time on the internet. I remember lots of my family members told their kids not to hang out with me because I'm a bad kid. I play video games and I spend so much time on the internet. I would have bad influence on them. So my parents was very upset with me and they didn't believe that I would make it to college. But well, look what you made me do. I went to college. I went to a good one. So at the end,
Yeah.
they're pretty proud of that. So in Vietnam, you have to sit for an exam to go to a college. I went to the exam. I finished it. I nailed it. I told my mom, "Mom, I think I'm 100% passed." And my mom was so happy for me. And then the school released the results of the exam, and we checked it. It's all good. But my dad didn't say anything. Like he waited until I received an official paper that I would accept it. Then he told his friends and family, yeah, she passed. Before that, he stayed quiet. He didn't tell anyone about the school that I enroll at because I guess he still had doubt about me. So yeah, they had really high expectation. What about you, me?
It's funny to hear that. It's funny to hear that, Anne, because for all our listeners, if you take Joel, me, and Anne is probably the best influence that you can find.
That's true.
Yeah, like any advice that we give, you got to take it with a grain of salt, but any advice that Anne gives is probably a solid one.
Yeah.
So it's definitely funny to hear that. My parents were strict. Of course, they were strict. But if you compare probably to parents in Vietnam and raising the kids in Vietnam and then me being raised in Russia, it's going to be different. Of course, I was allowed to do more things that I would say probably a regular child wouldn't be allowed to do in somewhere in Vietnam. They were strict about studying, of course. I can still remember my parents trying to teach me the, what is it called in English? Like math table? Is it called the same way? The table of multiplication,
Yeah, yeah,
right? What
yeah,
is called?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just remembering it's a summer 2002 or something like that. Like I'm whatever 6 year old. It's summertime. I'm bawling my eyes because I have to go through all the multiplication table. 2 by 2, 4, 4 by 2, whatever. I see. I'm not great even now, and yeah, and then my parents would be wrong. And I would be no. And I would literally bawl my eyes and cry again. And I still remember that I had a drawer in my table. So I cheated. I cheated and they still don't know about it. And it's a great thing that they cannot listen in English because I cheated. I put in Russia, like when you have these notebooks, like this general notebook that everyone would use during whatever, what do you call it, begin in the beginning on the school. So they on the back they would have multiplication table.
Mm-hmm,
So I
mm-hmm,
put it
mm-hmm.
that notebook in my drawer and I opened the drawer a little bit so I could
Mm-hmm.
go from 2 to 9. And this was
Mm-hmm.
the only saving grace that saved me because otherwise I feel like I would probably still be there. You know, like at 30 years old, I would probably still be there doing multiplication tables right now if that a notebook didn't save me. So they were pretty strict, but I wasn't A plus straight. I was definitely a good student. I would say B plus, maybe A, but I wasn't A plus, and they never expected me to be A plus. Of course, they wanted to. Of course, I mentioned that some other girl from some other family, she is amazing and like studying and all that stuff. But I got by, definitely. With boyfriends, it was a big no-no, but of course, I
Mm-hmm.
did it anyway.
Wow. It's funny to think about dating because I think my husband is the first boyfriend that I ever introduced to my parents. So I dated
Hmm.
another guy before for 2 years, but they had no idea. They even thought that I was gay. because I
What?
never, I think it was like during high school and then early, my first year, my second years during college, my dad and maybe my mom too, they would low-key thinking that I was gay because
Mhm.
I never bring anyone home. I never introduce them with guys. I have guys friends. I have a lot of guys friends, and every time I told them, "Hey, I'm gonna hang out tonight with some friends," and my dad would got excited. He would get excited and say, "Oh, who are you meeting with?" I'm like, "Oh, just some guys." Guys, that's good. Which guys?
That's
I'm like,
Who
hilarious.
are your dads? Where do you find dads like that? Like, I just don't understand how it works. Like, how is it possible?
I think because it was college, so I was allowed to
Yeah.
date, but in high school,
Mhm,
no.
mhm. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so I told, just some guys from my university, we gonna chat about some project in school and some, events that we're doing for the club. And he got upset. I'm like, okay, have fun. Bye. Yeah. So I remember one day during dinner, he asked me, and I could tell how he was a little bit nervous. Like, hey, you've been very quiet lately. I think it was when I went through a breakup. I was really quiet. I tried to
Mhm.
cover it from my parents. That was when he asked me if I were gay. Are you gay? Do you like hanging out with guys just as friends? Do you like girls? Because I do have a lot of girls friends, and they call me Ang, which means like older brother. In high
Mhm.
school, we play families game, so we call each other family members. So I can be a dad of someone, or an uncle of someone, and a brother of someone. And then I think my dad didn't understand it, and when other girls call me, "Hey, bro," my dad had the wrong,
Mm.
Oh,
yeah, thoughts about it. So, but I say no, I'm okay. I'm just not interested in boys for now. Anyway, it was funny for them, for him. I don't know. He probably thought a lot about it until he asked me. Ah,
I think like
My
even if
parents.
my dad like had an idea that if I was seeing someone, he just avoided the topic all along. Like he's just like, oh,
Mm.
that guy doesn't even exist. I'm never gonna ask her about it.
mm,
In his
Just
mind, it
like
doesn't
being
exist.
Delulu.
Yes,
mm,
kind of
Yeah.
delulu because he's
It
like
was a
no one.
choice
mm.
Yeah,
for
and no
him.
one's good enough, so that guy doesn't exist. It's like
Aw,
no one
Yeah.
exists.
aw, that's so
Yeah.
cute.
If that keeps happening, then I would just be single my entire life.
Mm.
Have you talked to him about that? What does he think about that?
I
You should
don't
ask
know.
him.
I definitely think he wants me to settle down now that he's getting older.
Mm,
But that's
mm.
the only reason. Like I really don't think he would want he just wants me to be financially independent. That's his main idea of having he has two daughters. He just wants both of us to have our finances good and we don't need to depend on anyone because that's hard.
Mm.
I feel like my parents are so typical because during high school they're like, no, no dating at all. Of course, I didn't listen, so I got caught one time because I was dating. It was my first boyfriend. I think I was 15 years old. So he was studying with me in school. He was very handsome. A lot of girls liked him. And I think we were walking in the streets at some point, just holding hands. But basically, we had a landlord passing by. And I saw her. I looked her right into her eyes, and I just pretended that I'm not seeing her.
Mm.
Again, Dilulu is a choice, right? So I was literally look at her, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna turn away, and she never seen me again. And of
Mm.
course, she seen me. She seen me
Mm.
holding hands with some white man, and I came home, and my mom was like, I just met landlord, and I was like, shit.
Oh
And she's
God.
like, you are holding hands with some guy. And of course, I had to be like, it's just friends. We're just being friendly. We dated for like 1 year, actually. And I think after that, they never heard of another boyfriend until I was in university. Because then in university, I started dating actually a Vietnamese guy like me, like Russian Vietnamese. And was the first time I think I introduced officially this is my boyfriend. They were fine then, but I think no love in high school. But the moment I started going to university, they're like, you gotta find a husband. And I'm like, this is kind of
Oh,
going fast. I was like, this is a fast transition from one stage to another.
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Yeah. Because they
Mm.
want you to, graduate from college and then find a job and immediately
Mhm.
get married, and
Have
then
kids
after that have
and have kids.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then after that
Mhm.
they will start asking about you. They will ask about your kids. You'll disappear from
I,
the conversation.
you
Hmm.
know what? It's not true because I have a friend who like did all everything. She got married, she had another kid, all that stuff, and now her parents are asking for another kid. So it never ends.
Oh God.
Wow. That is crazy. What about smoking or drinking? So Joel, I'm in the same boat with you. My dad didn't stop me from drinking. He have some red wine and be at home, and he would encourage me to try. Like, yeah, just have a sip. It's fine. Red wine's good for you. That's a lie, by the way. He even sent me to the store to get him some beer. You know, no one ID you in Vietnam. So even a kid, like a
Mm-hmm.
5 years old kid, can go to a convenience store and grab some beer
Wow.
for you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Is it still true? Like even right now?
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Wow.
technically, there's a drinking age, probably 18 to
Mhm.
19, but no one check your IDs. Like they even sell
Mhm.
here. They would hide cigarettes, tobaccos in somewhere under the counter at a grocery store. But in
Mm-hmm.
Vietnam, you can buy it so easily from like street
Yeah,
vendors,
it's all the
from
place.
convenience store. It's so easy. It's still that way, I think. Anyway, so it's funny. I think it's the opposite of how people see alcohol and cigarettes here. So here is like, no, no, no. You definitely shouldn't touch that until you reach your legal drinking age. But it kind of works for me. I never feel the urge of trying alcohol or even try smoking. I guess because my parents never smoke in front of me. And my dad only smoked when someone offered him a cigarette. And he only drinks a little bit of wine and beer in the summer. Other than that, I only seen him drunk once and he looks miserable. So I guess it's kind of stuck in my brain.
Mhm.
And I say, no, I don't want to be like him. So yeah, it's kind of a good thing. Like I don't have any craving to try anything, any substance. Thanks, mom and dad.
Yeah, I think it was very similar for me too. Like I saw my dad smoke once, and that was just because a friend was over and he offered him some. So I saw him smoking, but I immediately also expressed that I did not like it. Like I did
Mhm.
not like him smoking. So he
Mhm.
made sure that he doesn't do it. Or
Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
know if he did after that or not, but I've not seen him smoke after.
Yeah.
So that also stuck with me. Like I never got into smoking, or even if I did, it never stuck. Like it never got
Mhm.
stuck with me. So
Just
I
like
think yeah, that's
casual.
definitely yeah. Yeah, I've seen it and now it
Mhm.
doesn't bother me. I'm like, okay.
Mm, right. Yeah. What
Well, it's
about?
different from me
Mm-hmm.
because I
Try
grew up
diving
in
board.
Russia. Yeah, I tried. I mean, I think so. But yeah, my parents don't drink, they don't smoke. They occasionally would drink together because they love each other so much. They will just get a beer or something together, but they get wasted. One time I called my parents and they were absolutely wasted. My mom had a red face. So they don't know how to drink. And I'd like them to think that I don't know how to drink either.
Mm.
We started drinking pretty early because we were just kids. Everyone wanted to grow up so fast. So the drinking thing was definitely normal. We started drinking so early. We were like 14 years old. In a Russian fashion, we would go into condominium buildings and then we would sit where the staircases are. And I
Mm.
bet every neighbor hated those kids because if somebody would sit on my staircase right now and drink alcohol, I would be like, you gotta go.
Mm.
And then
Yeah.
here we are, 15 kids, all below drinking age, and everyone's drinking and everyone's smoking cigarettes. That was normal. I think my parents never caught me drinking. They never caught me drinking until it was actually a crazy situation. You guys gonna find it so crazy. I think I was 17, so I was like in 10th grade in Russia or something like that. We have 11th. And I had this teacher. She was an English teacher. She wasn't my class's English teacher, but we were close because she knew my ex-boyfriend, the one that my first boyfriend went there, and she was like, I can't believe you guys broke up. So I think it was during the time when we just broke up. So obviously I was in my feels. She was like, hey, I have a bunch of my kids that already graduated from high school coming over to help me move furniture. Would you like to come over? And of course, I was so naive. I was like, of course, sure, I'll come because I thought I'm going to be helping her. By the time I came there, everyone was already so drunk.
Oh my god.
That English teacher allowed them all to just go and drink at her plate and get wasted. And I got absolutely smashed because was the first time when I was trying. They had like whiskey and something, and I never, I don't know, like I just didn't know how to. I just tried to be cool, right? Because like it's a bunch of guys
Yeah.
who already graduated. Hey, I'm still in high school, but I want to be cool so badly. So I got really, really wasted to the point where people had to not bring me home, but definitely walk me home because I couldn't even walk properly. And imagine my parents' reaction when I basically almost falling in, absolutely reeking alcohol, and trying to explain to them that, hey, teacher approved that.
Oh, damn.
And of course, my parents were, what freaking teacher? Give me the phone number, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I have a phone number somewhere. Let me get it. But at that point, they were like, because my parents are like also definitely has anxiety. Like, you know, like it's definitely like anxiety ridden because like you don't know the language and you have to call some kind of teacher and try to be angry on the language that you're not even proficient at.
Yeah.
So they never ended up calling her, but damn, that I was scared. I think I was grounded for like weeks. I couldn't go out of my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I think drinking at your teacher's house or drinking at home is actually safer than try drinking
Hmm.
elsewhere, like going to a club or a bar or,
Hmm.
who knows where. If I have kids, I would let them try. If you want to try anything, try it at home. Try it on my watch.
Hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know what? This is like one thing I understood. Obviously, like I know myself, I did so many things or so many unsafe things because I couldn't even tell my parents this is what I'm doing. And I could have had in so many bad situations when I was younger that the more I'm thinking about if I'm having kids, I want to establish this truthful culture where they can tell me whatever they want. And I will try to be not as angry.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. You need to provide like a safe space for them. So there's
Hmm.
nothing they need to hide from us. I think is more healthy, right? Because they would hide something anyway. Like
Oh,
everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, they will do something
Yeah.
and they
No.
would hide away from us. So might as well. Okay, let me know. Tell me. I be cool. I be a cool mom, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so my next question for everyone is what do you love the most about your dad? We just talk a lot about bad things about them. So let's say something nice. Yeah. What did you love the most about your dad?
I think I can go first. I think growing up, because there were three girls in the house, my mom, my sister, and me. And I just think he was very woman empowerment kind of person. Like he made sure that we know that we are independent and strong, and he never made me feel like I couldn't do anything. So he always encouraged me to do things. Like if I wanted, even when I was moving to Canada, he was like, "You're gonna do well. Just make sure you're independent and you're financially strong, and stuff like that." Yeah, I definitely think he never made me feel like I needed a guy to rely on,
I love your
or
dad
I need
already.
to. Yeah,
Honestly, so progressive.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I don't know it happened because of my mom or just because he had two daughters, but I definitely think that's something that I really love about him. He always was like, girls are so good, like I have two daughters, I'm so proud of that. And because coming from a culture where patriarchy and guys are favored more in
Yeah.
general, in my culture at least. So yeah, it felt really good that I had a dad who did not make me feel that way, or and always encouraged me to do whatever I wanted to do. So yeah,
Aw.
definitely love that.
Yeah, that's
Oh, that's
great.
so nice.
Yeah. Is there like one child or two child policy in India?
No, there isn't. So when my mom had my sister, my grandparents or like the older generation wanted her to have another kid so she can have a guy or like son.
Mhm.
And my parents were a big no-no. They were like, we
Really?
want two kids, and
Mm.
even a girl or boy doesn't matter.
Mhm.
So I think that was always discussed in our house, and no, girls and guys, there's no difference. So
Mhm.
I think that was
Mhm.
really cool.
That is cool because in Vietnam, I know a lot of family would try to have the third kid just so they can have a boy. My uncle did that. Even though back then there was two child policy, you might not get promoted at work. You might have to pay some kind of fines. But people do that anyway because they want to have a son. I know that when my parents had my brother, they did some woo-woo things. Like probably a fortune teller. They say, "Oh, if you
Mhm,
want a
Oh
if
my
mhm.
you want a
God.
boy, you need to have him in 2003 because it's a great year. It's a golden goat year. So all of my aunties and my mom had babies in that years. Yeah, so they did some woohoo things behind my back. I didn't know how I figured it out, but I did. I know, mom and dad. I know what you did.
I mean, fortune teller is like a big thing in Vietnam,
It
though.
is big.
Like any big kind of decisions, weddings and children and all that stuff, people go to fortune tellers a lot just to see how the stars aligned and if everything is great.
Yeah, which is funny because my dad not superstitious. I was surprised
Mhm.
that he did that. You know, it's crazy.
Guess it's my turn. What I love the most about my dad, I just think he's a man. You know what I mean? If he tells I'm gonna do it, he's gonna freaking do it.
Mm-mm.
If he is like, "Do you need something? Do you need this?" He's just gonna give it to you. There's no talk about, yes, I will do it someday or anything. My mom asked, can you do this, I don't know, picture? He will get up and he will do that picture. So he won't wait for us to ask something for him. And also his self-sacrifice. Whenever we get anything new or anything like that, it goes like in stages. First it's gonna be me, then my mom, and then my dad. My dad like refuses to buy, like he broke his like phone like 4 times, and then he keeps like fixing it because he refuses to buy a new one.
Oh.
He refuses to buy anything new for him. He's like, if he buys something, it needs to be on discount or something like that. And then he will call me and be like, "Oh my God, daughter, I got this on a discount." And he will show me this shirt that I got it only for this much. So yeah, I think it's a bad thing and it's a good thing at the same time. And I feel like they don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. My dad is similar too. He's very loyal and generous to his friends and family. He probably the most reliable person in the family you can turn
Yeah.
to whenever something broken. If something broken in our house, I would just ask for a technician to come. But no, my dad would just stay at home, open everything, and then put everything together. When I visited him in his workplace, I could tell that he had earned great respect from his colleagues just because he's so handy. He knows so many things. He kind of enjoy fixing things for people, so people find him very helpful. Whenever I talk about my dad, there's one thing I'm very proud of him is that he had an incredible memory, and I think I kind of inherited that from him. He reads a lot of Chinese novel, like classic ones. And one of his favorite is The Three Kingdoms. It's really long. I don't know. It's probably this thick, but he remember every single details of it. And
Wow.
yeah, he just loved learning how things work. He really good at history. I don't know how he can
Mm.
remember all the years and the date. I can only remember the story because I love listening to love stories and family stories. But my dad, he remembered that, and then he also remembered the numbers. Like, I cannot do that.
Mhm.
But
Wow.
yeah, but I do have pretty good memory. So if anyone do something bad to me, I will remember it for the rest of my life.
Oh, I will remember too. My
Yeah.
memory is so bad, but like I'm really, really great at being petty.
Mhm. So I think because my dad is good at history, it's kind of become, it's funny, like we always argue, but now I think about it, I would never be interested in men who are good at math and physics and chemistry. I always fall for someone who good at social studies. So like history, geography, poetry, that kind of stuff. So yeah, funny enough, somehow my type is very similar to my dad.
Yeah,
Wow.
I had this question for you guys. Do you guys fall for someone who's similar or do you guys go
No.
for the exact opposite?
For me, my partner, he is completely different. He is, I mean, we're talking about like different countries, different races, different color, and like completely opposite from like what my dad is. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but yeah.
Mm.
Yes, since I've started going to therapy earlier, I used to actually fall for people who were very similar to my dad. But after therapy, I've realized there are some trauma that did not make me feel good enough growing up, and I do not want to relive that. So I think now those qualities, I'm more aware of it. So if someone's doing something that's similar, I try to stay away from that and not date them because I do think that I still have to do a lot of inner child work, and I'm not trying to blame you, dad, if you're listening, but there are a few things that is non-negotiable for me, like communication. I think it's a huge one because there was so much awkward silence at home that I don't think I can deal with that in my life. So definitely communications on top. And then also, yeah, just emotionally available because I did fall for a lot of people who were not emotionally available, and my dad is all, still not. But I would want a man who is emotionally available and listens to my feelings and talks about their feelings because
Yeah,
that's not
again, that's bare minimum. Bare minimum.
their
Yeah.
minimum.
Yeah. I want someone who is loyal to his family as my dad and who have, the same intelligence as my dad. But in terms of emotion, emotional intelligence, I want more because
Yeah.
we also have a lot of awkward silence at home. And I want someone who, warm and put the time to listen to me because I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of emotion because I couldn't talk to my parents when growing up. So now I need someone to sit and listen to me, you know? Yeah, I need the best of
Yeah.
both worlds.
Which is a bare minimum. So, like,
Yeah.
technically, we should be getting all this stuff.
Now that you say about it, how did you see your dad when you were young versus now?
The age.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing how they're visibly getting old is what messes with me too much. Because like when you're younger, you just see this man and you're like, he's unstoppable. Nothing can break him. And especially once you're a little bit away and you're looking at them and you're just like, oh my God, he's getting old. And of course, you're getting all this anxiety. I'm a horrible daughter. I'm the only child and I moved away. And so, yeah, I think this was the most thing that I noticed. At some point, I looked at my dad. I was like, oh my God, he has so much gray hair. This is like these little things. And then also, I feel like I'm on TikTok a lot. I'm like addicted to TikTok. So, and I heard then people say that don't forget that your parents leave for the first time too. And I
Mm.
feel like the moment I saw this message, it kind of changed everything for me. Because now every time I'm getting a little bit like, angry at them and all that stuff, or I'm like not agreeing with them, I keep reminding myself that, yeah, they're living for the first time too. And they're experiencing life for the first time too. And now I'm just like, oh my God, I want to give them all this kind of experiences. I'm just too broke. Please, everyone, if you're listening, please make this podcast as famous as possible because I need to bring my parents somewhere. Please.
Yeah, poverty, guys, please.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's similar to what me said. I think I used to see him when I was younger. I used to see, oh wow, look at him. He's big and he has good arms and he has a good physique. He's just a big person. And then when you grow up, you start seeing he's getting older, and that gives me anxiety too. Like, I'm not able to spend as much time with him, and I'm not able to do as much for him as I would like to. So that's definitely, that always messes with me as well. But yeah, other than that, I definitely think that I used to think he was like God for me when I was growing up. Like, I really thought he was like, oh my God, he's like this most amazing superhuman person. But the more older I got, I realized that, oh, do make mistakes. They are human. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to connect with them more. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like now I'm able to talk to them more like friends.
Hmm.
But when I was a kid, I actually thought they were like superhumans. Like, they could do anything. Like, they could do magic
Mm.
for all I know.
Wow, that's amazing. I guess you guys have similar experience. For me, my dad was a scary person. Like, I was so scared of him.
Oh, I
He
was scared of my dad too.
he has like a scary face. If he doesn't smile, he could make someone cry. Like all the kids in our
Oh,
neighborhoods was scared of my dad. Whenever they don't behave very well, their mom would say, "Okay, do you want to go to Anne's house and see Anne's dad?" And everyone all of a sudden start to behave very well because they're so scared of my dad. So same with me. He used to work far away from home and had irregular schedule. So most of the time when my dad was home, my mom would be at work. And during summertime, I stayed at home with my dad. I always hid in my room so that my dad could not send me to anywhere for errands or like ask me to do chores. I'm just so scared of him. And he has such a loud voice, and whenever he call my name, I got scared. But now I'm an adult. I think I'm not scared of him anymore. I think we on the same level now. In the past, whenever we started talking about something, it's always end up, you know, a fight. Like I would slam the door, my dad would yell at me. It never ended well, and my dad would never apologize because, he's a dad. He always right. And I say, "Well, I'm
Mhm.
a daughter. I'm right too." It's definitely better now because I kind of learned how to talk to him so that we don't argue and we don't fight to each other. Especially when I move to Canada, I only visit home. I try to visit home once a year, and I know it's such a limited amount of time with families. I want it to be a quality time and like to have good memories with my parents instead of slamming the door and shouting at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
I would cry my eyes out at the airport when I had to say goodbye. So yeah, it's definitely better when I move away. I don't know if it would be that way if I still lived in Vietnam and lived with my parents. Probably not.
Yeah, distance helps.
No, for sure. I went to Vietnam in 2023 and we just landed, and the next day, me and my mom started fighting right away. So it definitely felt like home. You know what? I was just like, you know what? I am home. This feels like home for me. My dad is usually like a mitigator between us. If we are fighting, me and mom are fighting, he would be like, okay, that's enough, guys. You don't have to fight anymore. But I definitely see how distance helps. It just sucks that it took distance for
Mhm.
it to help neuter your like relationship, right? It sucks, but at least it works, I would say.
Yeah. You have to stand up for yourself too. I think my dad used to treat me like I'm still a kid. Have no idea how the world functions. I remember when I moved to this apartment that I'm living in, I would have to commute a bit longer to work. The rent is slightly higher and the apartment is smaller. So my dad said, "Why you move? Just stay where you are. It's bigger, it's cheaper, it's closer to work. Are you dumb?" And I was so mad. I say, "Hey, Dad, I'm not asking for your permission. I'm an adult. I'm telling you that I'm moving because it's a new apartment. It's pet friendly. I want to have cats. If you want me to call home as often as I am doing now and tell you about my life, then you should stop talking to me that way. I just want to let you know. And if you just want to hear what you want to hear, then I don't think I will call home often." I think after that,
Yeah,
he kind of changed a little bit because before
that's
that
so cool.
call, he just say whatever he thinks. Like he doesn't think when he talked to me, and sometimes it hurts. Like he could say some hurtful word to me, but now he realized that I'm an adult. I have feelings too, and he's trying his best. I could tell that he tried to make sure that he would not make me cry as much as he used to when I was young. Yeah, that's the biggest change to me between me and my dad. It sucks that it would take that long and we have to live so far away to get to
Mm-hmm.
this kind of almost, I would say, almost healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys almost feel like now we are the parents and they're the
Of
kids?
course,
Yeah.
100%.
Hmm.
They were so worried about me when I came to Canada, a girl coming alone to a new country. I felt so blessed when I came to Canada because I already knew English.
Mm.
I already know how to get by in the city. Like, I
Hmm.
know, and I keep thinking about because, like, my parents immigrated to Russia when I think my mom was like 17 or 18, and my dad was like kind of the same age. As a part of immigration, they were like working, like on the factories. My mom is from the mountains area. My mom literally came straight from the village in some other country, doesn't speak any language, nothing at all. And they made it, right? And they were so worried for me. And now I'm sitting at home and I'm worried for them because I'm like, what if they try to do something and their Russian is not going to be good, or they need my help, and for example, to call a phone provider, and I cannot do it because I'm here in Canada. So I have to go and ask all my friends who are still in Russian, Vietnamese Russians, and be like, hey, could you please call this service provider for my parents?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it sucks because like I'm so worried about them, but they are also so worried about me. So we're just stuck in our ways, being worried for each other. But I feel like I'm definitely more worried about them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I first moved to Canada, my parents didn't like it. They didn't like that idea. There's so many sad story about, Vietnamese young immigrant die or got kidnapped or got treated badly when they live in North America. There's just a lot of horrible stories on the internet, and whenever they see something like that, they will send it to me. But again, I know how to speak the language. I know how everything works here. Last year, when they came here to visit me and attend my wedding, I took them around. I literally feel like I'm the parent and they were my kids because
Mm-hmm.
I was the one who drove them all around the city. And all they did was got into my car and slept. And I was the driver. I drove them everywhere. And then I order everything on the menu that they want because they
Oh,
don't
Mm-hmm.
speak English very well. And I took them to all the places that I want to show them. They have absolutely no idea. They didn't plan anything. They just follow me everywhere. I was literally the mother duck. And then my parents and my brother was like three little ducklings following me everywhere in the city. It was very sweet. What about
Yeah,
you,
I'm sure they're
Joelle?
very proud of it.
Yeah, now they feel at ease. At my wedding, they say that they feel at ease because they finally saw how I live, where I live, and all the friends that I'm hang out with. They all good people. So
Mm.
yeah, I think they feel better. It definitely helped them feel better now. What about you,
yeah.
Joelle?
Yeah, I definitely think the tables have turned. And I think now that when I have fights with them, I have to be the mature one here and I just got to
Mm-hmm.
let it go. I'm so easily adaptable to change and I know they won't change. So I just let it go and just go with the flow with them and have no expectations. So
Mhm,
definitely, I think I'm more towards taking care of them
mhm.
instead of them taking care of me now. So roles have reversed, but it's good. Like I feel like I'm growing up and they also
Mm-hmm.
respect that, which is great.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, I think that was an incredibly emotional but also fun episode. I want to end this episode by us sending a message to our dad for Father's Days in your language and make sure to translate it into English for the audience, please.
My dad will probably stick to English, to be very honest. He knows English.
Yeah.
If he heard this episode, he'll be like, oh, I understood everything.
Okay,
But I don't,
cool.
you know what? I don't think he'll talk about it though, because communication isn't a strong point
Mm.
in my
True.
house. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing
You
that I
want to
want
start,
to,
Joel?
yes, the only thing that I would want to say to you, dad, is I love you and I just want you to relax a little bit. Like, I know you work a lot, but I would love to spend more time with you. And yeah, I just want you to, not take it too hard and not work so much anymore. And I just love you and happy Father's Day.
Yay. Oh, that's so sweet. You want to go next, me?
Oh, okay.
Don't cry.
Mm.
We with you.
I I'm more stressed to be honest. I guess I would say, do I start in Vietnamese first and then in English?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Unless you want to speak Russian.
Um, nah, no. I'm just gonna stay close to the roots. I guess I'll say con chào bố. Con không biết bố có nghe được cái podcast này không? Mà nếu mà bố nghe bố chắc cũng không hiểu được cái gì cả. Nhưng mà con chỉ muốn bảo bố là con vẫn ổn và con vẫn ăn đầy đủ và đủ chất. Mỗi tội là con không ăn hoa quả nhiều như bố muốn. Ừm, con nhớ bố và con yêu bố và con mong là sắp tới gia đình mình sẽ có dịp để gặp nhau. To everyone else who actually doesn't speak Vietnamese, I just said that I don't know if he will be able to listen to this podcast because he doesn't really speak English. But if he can hear me, I would like him to know that I'm okay. I eat. And although I don't eat like, enough fruits like as he wants to, but I still eat and I love him and I miss him and I hope that we will see each other soon.
Oh,
Oh,
that is so sweet. Okay, it's my turn. Nhân ngày của bố thì mong là bố luôn giữ gìn sức khỏe. Con mong là bố nghỉ hưu sớm. Bố làm việc quá nhiều rồi. Bây giờ nhiệm vụ của bố là nghỉ ngơi thật nhiều. Đi chơi với mẹ. Ăn cơm với mẹ cho mẹ đỡ buồn. À, con với Đức thì đều lớn rồi. Bố mẹ không cần phải lo gì hết. À, thế thôi. Con chỉ mong bố có thật là nhiều sức khỏe. Okay, so what I said was I hope that he will stay healthy. I hope he retires soon. He worked too hard. All I want for him is to stay healthy, retire early, and having fun with my mom. My mom's also retired, so she having lunch and dinner sometime alone, and I don't like seeing that. So I hope they can retire and have fun together, travel together. Me and my brother are, you know, grown up now. We can take care of ourselves. Yeah. And happy Father's Day. Okay. That
Hey,
was it. Thanks,
That was a great
everyone.
episode.
subscribe.
Please sending some love to your dad, even though they can be emotionally unavailable sometimes. But I'm sure they love to hear some sweet words from their daughters and their son. Anyway, that was a blast. Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.